how to think like Franklin Saint from Snowfall. Now, Franklin Saint is by far one of my most favourite TV show characters of all time. And it's no surprise that he has been one of the most requested, if not the most requested character for me to break down. I mean, with his smart and calculated strategic thought process, he definitely is a character that I can break down multiple times over. And in this series of breakdowns, what I'm mainly going to be focusing on are the two main strategies that Franklin uses that not only propels him into the position of becoming the drug king of South Central, but also what contributes to his success of becoming a very powerful and strategic leader. And exactly what you can use to increase the amount of power you have in your life and in your world of business. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn how to think like Franklin Saint. Now, Franklin is a character that we can definitely consider as being a strategic genius, and he definitely ticks off the majority of the traits of being a good leader. From his simple actions such as thinking rationally before he acts, to always understanding and keeping in mind the bigger picture of things. But one of the key fundamental ideas that differentiates Franklin from a lot of other people, and what propels him into that such strong position of power, is him understanding the importance of ownership. Which is what leads me to the first strategy that I want to break down for you, which is the second strategy of the 50th law, which is to make everything your own. The Hustler's Empire. Now, what the Hustler's Empire is all about is understanding the difference between being dependent on people versus being self-reliant. And this is a powerful concept that we can see with the character of Franklin. When we first look and analyse Franklin on the surface, the first point that a lot of people recognise is that he's a guy that's all about his money and business.
Oh, you about that money, huh? Alright then. Get him his money.
But even though this is true, when we start to analyse Franklin on a much more deeper level, we see that amassing wealth isn't what Franklin's true ultimate goal or purpose in life is. Ever since the first episode, we see that what Franklin's true goal really isn't fancy cars, diamond chains, or big houses, but it's to elevate himself, his family, and his people into a position to where they are completely self-reliant. What his true goal really is to have complete freedom and ownership over himself and the environment around him.
Cho, don't sweat me. Rather do things when I want and how I want and get paid more or some office job and eat shit. That ain't what I'm after.
Oh, so you are after something.
Fucking right.
And what's that?
Freedom. Freedom from all of it.
You see what I mean? And this is what I refer to as having the Hustler's Empire mindset, which is what drives Franklin to find ways to build something for himself and base all of his maneuvers in his life around ownership and aim to work the corner for himself. Reason being for that is that, as we see throughout Snowfall, when you work and depend on others for your finances or your success, you are typically at their mercy. They own your work and they own you, trapping you in a box and placing a limit on what you can achieve. I mean, we can see how Franklin's community is more so owned and heavily reliant on other powerful people from outside of his community, rather than it being owned by the people within the community themselves. But what Franklin realizes, and what you should realize too, is that in order to break away from this, what you need to aim for is the ultimate power and goal in life, which is to become completely self-reliant and completely yourself. And you should strive for every maneuver in your life to transport you from a position of dependency into a position of ownership, allowing you to do things on your terms and not being a victim or pawn of someone else's game.
I try to do shit the right way. Went to the other side. Know what I learned? The game's rigged. It ain't made for people like us, so you know what? I'm rewriting the rules.
Now, don't get it twisted. Ever since a child, It's always been completely natural for us to grow up depending on others. I mean, you wouldn't expect a 4-year-old to go out and get a mortgage for himself, right? But as we start to grow as kids, we start to learn how to become more dependent on ourselves and less dependent on others. But there comes a time in most of our adult lives to where most of us end up coming back to this position of dependency once again, just like we were as children, but this time in our careers, our finances, and in our lives. But even though the majority of people dream of becoming self-reliant, what mostly stops people from achieving this and keeps many people in these positions of dependency as adults is the fear of going out into the world and having to either sink or swim on your own. And this is the issue that Franklin has with society. He understands that the world has tricked many people into thinking that being dependent on others is the safer option. But what he recognizes is that by being forever stuck in these positions of dependency is exactly what gives other people power over him and his people. And in reality, people should have a greater fear of having to constantly rely on others for power in comparison to being self-reliant. This way of viewing the world through the lens of being an owner over himself rather than being a victim of other people's games and exploitations is what allowed Franklin to spot the opportunities that moved him slowly away from being under the control of others and more towards the goal of being his own boss and dictating life on his own terms. And when something is yours, it is yours to lose. Hence you are more motivated, more creative, and more alive to keep working on it, making it very harder for someone to take away what is yours.
I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just cause you don't like the way another nigga talk. Drive, motherfucker!
Now, even though I am going to provide you with a few steps to help you start your journey towards building your own hustler's empire and becoming more self-reliant, I want to let you know one thing, that nothing will ever change the fact that becoming an owner of things takes time. The ironic thing about the hustler's empire is that before you start physically working towards the goal of self-reliance, you must first become an owner within yourself. And just like Franklin, you must concentrate on thinking and transforming your ways of viewing the world through the lens of becoming an owner, even right at the beginning when you own nothing. And this is what will allow you to get a much more powerful grasp on life itself.
You can't have some little kids is running off with some ring pops, man.
They gotta learn. They how America works.
The Roman Empire wasn't built in a day. And regardless of how simple or extravagant your goals and aspirations are, you need to understand that your journey of moving from a place of dependency to a place of self-reliance isn't going to be easy, and it won't happen overnight. You ultimately will have to start at the bottom. It will take time, and there will be many times where you just want to give up. And that's the reason why so many people are stuck in these positions of dependency, as it's so much more easier to just be dependent on other people and to not have to step out of your comfort zone. As we see with Franklin, the man's been robbed, beaten, shot, arrested, and betrayed numerous times, but he still stands tall in the end and pushes through, as he understands all the grand benefits and advantages that being an owner brings, and is worth all the headache and stress he goes through. Being an owner grants you the freedom to do things on your own terms, and to do things the way you want to. And once you reach this position of ownership, then there's nothing or no one that can place a limit on what you can achieve. Which is what links me to the first tactic that you can use on your journey towards self-reliance, which is to create little empires for yourself. Now, even though Franklin had dreams of one day building his own huge empire, he understood that it was a process that would take a lot of time and knowledge. This is why we see him happy working a low-paying job at Cho's liquor store, because he understands that even though the pay may not be that great, the job provided him with more responsibility and with the opportunity to learn how to run a business, which is something that he wouldn't have got in comparison to a higher paid but less responsible office job somewhere else.
I'm getting paid to learn how to run a business.
This is the exact same thing when Franklin first meets Avi, when he offers to move a bird of coke, taking on responsibility that he's not 100% sure that he can pull off.
What do you say?
He said kilos. To people with money. Now go, scram.
Okay, front me a key. And I'll turn it around quick.
The point is that whenever it comes down to choosing between money or responsibility, you should always aim for responsibility. A lower paying position that offers more room to make decisions and carve out little empires for yourself is infinitely more preferable to something that pays well but constricts your movements. In the short term, more money may seem satisfying, but over time, if your position doesn't provide you with the opportunities to elevate and grow, then this is going to make your journey towards self-reliance impossible. Don't fall for the trap of short-term gains and immediate gratification. All this is just an illusion to trap you into positions of dependency. Don't be afraid to delay immediate gratifications and focus your energy and thoughts on the positions that will provide you with the opportunities to grow and become an owner. This is why it's so important to prioritize responsibility and education over chasing money. Because with this mindset, this is what will help you propel forward towards the goal of becoming self-reliant.
Cho, don't sweat me. Rather do things when I want and how I want and get paid more or some office job and eat shit. That ain't what I'm after.
Now to bring it back round again, it's almost inevitable that on your journey moving towards self-reliance and ownership, you're typically going to have to start out working under someone else. Which is fine, this is more or less how everyone starts out in life, and you should recognize that this is perfectly normal. But where it will start to go wrong for you is when you start to accept this position for yourself and let it grind your ambition. This is what links me to the second tactic that you can use, which is to reclaim dead time. Just like Franklin, what you want to do is not view these lower ranking positions as a waste of time. What you should view them as are learning opportunities. Just like with Harvey and Franklin, bosses prefer to keep you in dependent positions. It is in their interest that you don't become self-reliant, and so they will tend to hoard information from you. That's why it's your job to secretly work against this dynamic and seize the information for yourself. No matter what position you're in or who you're working for, you should always keep a sharp eye out for golden pieces of knowledge that can benefit you. Each and every time Franklin moves up in the game, it's always because of him learning from his experiences or his mistakes. This is what links back to the first tactic, which is prioritizing responsibility and education over money, and use that to create little empires of your own, as it's only with knowledge and experience that is going to help you reach that goal of self-reliance. And the third tactic that you can use is to have a strong focus on the goal of always moving higher up the food chain, to where you alone control the direction of the enterprise and depend on no one. Exactly like Franklin, your life shouldn't revolve around money. Trust me, there are plenty of rich people that are still modern day slaves to other people, and they will never have the freedom to do as they please. That's why your life should be a progression towards ownership rather than money, as when you rely on other people to do things for you, it usually comes with strings attached, whereas being free to maneuver and do things on your own terms is worth all the money in the world. So just like Franklin, you must strive to keep yourself free of the unnecessary entanglements and obligations as possible. So get in the habit of taking what you need for yourself instead of expecting others to give it for you. And if you cannot avoid having partners, make sure that you are clear as to what function they serve for you and how you will free yourself of them at the right moment. Exactly like how Franklin does with everyone around him.
I'll make you so much fucking money you'll be able to fund that war all by yourself. They gonna name a wing at the CIA headquarters after your ass. Real American hero shit. And in return, you gonna make sure that me and mine are protected. And at the end of this, the both of us are gonna ride off into the sunset.
And this is the whole idea surrounding the Hustler's Empire strategy. And that's exactly how to think like Franklin Saint. The idea of viewing the world through a lens of becoming an owner, rather than viewing it as becoming a minion or worker of others. But this doesn't mean that you become an arrogant prick, or it doesn't mean that you all of a sudden become better than everyone else. Building your empire takes time, and it's something that isn't easy. Again, if it was easy, everyone would do it. But by even just simply changing your perspective of viewing yourself as becoming an owner of things is the greatest aspect that will help you put you on that journey to building your own empire. Understand that you will start at the bottom and you will have to work under others for quite a while. But don't look at these circumstances as a waste of time. View them as learning opportunities. Prioritize responsibility and learning over money. Start out by just building smaller empires first, and never forget that ultimate goal in your mind. That being to become an owner of your own shit, and to be in a position to where the only person you have to rely on is yourself, allowing you to navigate the world exactly how you want to, breaking free from the shackles of others and becoming your own free man. And that's how to think like Franklin Saint from Snowfall. And that's what's going to grant you more power in your life and in your world of business. Now that I've broken down the strategy and the mindset behind Franklin's journey of ownership and self-reliance, we can now start to understand what propelled him to that position of becoming a drug lord of a multi-million-dollar empire. But ironically, the more we see him progress towards becoming more self-reliant and independent, the more and more people start to depend on him. And when it comes to building an empire, it's not so much the building that is the hardest part, but it's more so keeping it intact, which is exactly what I'm going to cover in the next breakdown of how to lead like Franklin Saint and break down the strategies that Franklin uses in order to protect and maintain the growth of his empire. But I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, so I'll be breaking all that down in the next breakdown, which I can't wait to create for you. And just a quick side note, I hope everyone's all good. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update with what's going on with the channel, as I have been gone a while. Now, after me making a video every week for nearly 60 weeks straight, surrounding mob bosses, gangsters and drug dealers, I figured it was about time that I give myself a bit of a break. As much as I really do love all the support and love that I get from you guys on the channel, the content that I produce, especially when it comes to the character breakdowns, isn't easy. So I did decide to take a bit of a step back and let my brain get some rest after creating many different analysis of many different powerful strategies and characters. And I will be resuming back to our normal schedule real soon. And also, just a quick update on the special project that I've been working on for you guys. Each and every day I'm getting closer and closer to releasing it, but it definitely still needs some more work. But if you are interested in the strategic strategies and principles that I cover, then make sure you sign up with the link in the description to get notified of more information when I drop it. I don't want to give away too much just yet, but just know it's going to be something that will help you transform your ways of thinking from just a normal human being into a strategic mastermind. So if you are interested in learning more about that, then make sure you hit that link in the description. And if you like this video, make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment below on what your thoughts and feelings are about Franklin. Comment some of your favourite lessons and quotes from him. And let me know if you're excited for the next breakdown of how to lead like Franklin Saint. And if you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. And to all our loyal subscribers, we are glad you are here. We do some of the best character breakdowns on the whole of YouTube, and we aim to produce at least one high quality video per week. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any golden knowledge. I'll see you soon.